Good evening, UH Nation. My name is Reid Nelson. This is Izzy This is This Week in Rec. Week 1, Spring Season 2013, coming to you from the Fridley Lifetime Fitness. A couple of big news stories this week. Rebels, undefeated last season. Actually, no, 7-1 last season. Start out 0-1 this season to the Red Devils. I was playing there in that game. You watched it. Talk about what the Red Devils did to defeat the Rebels and put them at 0-1.
Well, they played a zone, which was what I expected them to do. And they kept the game was really sloppy, and that zone, the Rebels came back. They, I think, at one point took the lead for a little bit, and then the Red Devils zone got a little bit tighter, and the Rebels couldn't make their shots. And the Red Devils are good. I mean, they're a good team. Trey Sales is a great player. Jordan's a great player, and they're long. So when they get in that zone, they got really long arms in there, and they can rebound out of that zone. Most teams that play zone struggle to rebound because you're not dedicated to a man. But they're long enough and strong enough to take care of business, and they did. I was quite impressed by the win.
The Lakers, the runner-up last season, they also lose. St. Baul loses. The North Stars also lose. So there were some sizable upsets. The biggest news to me was something that I just was informed of about an hour ago, and that is that Ryan Jansen has left the Ninja Turtles and will join forces with the Fob 5. You guys did a wonderful job of keeping this under wraps. Talk about the process of getting Mr. Jansen, Mr. MVP, to come play with you guys.
Well, the whole thing was Burns last season. He had promised Burn that he would play with him in his last rec season because they never played together. And it was kind of one of those things where we brought it up to him, and he's like, yeah, I guess you're kind of right. I did say that, and it just kind of one thing led to another, and he said, well, if I play, I guess I'll think about it, and I'll probably run with you guys. So he kind of debated about it and decided that he was going to give Byrne a salute, farewell.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the way you guys played tonight, played pretty well. I don't know if I'd call you necessarily the early favorites yet, but looking very good. Currently, Ultimate Hoops Rec stands at 37 teams. We're still looking for a couple of players for the Fridley free agent squad. If we can get that, we'd be at 38 teams. It's looking like 20 teams are going to make the playoffs, which means there are going to be some good teams that are going to be on the outside looking in, potentially. Now, the way I look at it, there's 5 or 6 really top-end teams in Fridley. And maybe a few more after watching the games tonight, but there could potentially be a 4-4, maybe even a 5-3 team that missed the playoffs, and rightfully so. We're only letting 20 teams in. Any thoughts about our current playoff format?
It's going to be crazy because although the teams at the top are better, the teams in the middle are good enough to beat certain teams on certain nights. I mean, the North Stars lost tonight, and going into that game, you're like, well, North Stars aren't going to lose this. But when you go up against a team that doesn't miss and they're just making all their shots and they're really grinding out defensively, a lot of these teams can beat these upper echelon squads as long as they bring it for 44 minutes, and anything can happen, just like the North Stars did. The free agents beat Fob 5 last season. It always takes that one player. What happened before is always had that one player that couldn't do anything. That was a liability. And now teams are putting out 5 decent, okay to good players, and those 5 guys can beat these good teams if they have a good run. I mean, I don't know if you agree. The Pigeons are a good example of it. They played a great game against a more talented Noisy, and Noisy are a very good team basketball unit. And the Pigeons were leading the whole way, and just came down to a couple plays at the end. But that's what I'm talking about. I think Noisy should be a lock-in for the playoffs. But you never know now.
Do you think that Ultimate Hoops Rec should go to an expanded playoff system, whether it be 24 or 32 teams?
I'm intrigued by 32. I really am. And the reason why I'm intrigued by 32, I think we could branch out to another location. Like when I was thinking 32 this offseason, I was thinking we have 16 on the same night. We have 16 in Bloomington, and on that same night we have 16 in Eden Prairie, for instance, Crosstown. Maybe try to infiltrate Crosstown and spread the love a little bit. Maybe have a Bloomington South League, a Crosstown League, and a Fridley League, and then combine them, because Plymouth didn't work because of location. And I think a lot of the South Metro teams wouldn't mind playing at Crosstown if the Crosstown management would give it.
I mean, are you just talking about for playoffs? playing a single night in Crosstown or starting a new league actually in Crosstown?
Well, I say we start out a playoff system there, and then if management wants a league, we could try to put a league out in Crosstown, and then that way there wouldn't be, 2 buys per season, and we're drawing out these seasons, and there's like one off week.
Sure. Well, I mean, and there is plans in place to add a third rec league, which will be in Bloomington South on Tuesday nights, and that's starting next season, and we're a couple weeks away from that. But yeah, I mean, we are definitely going to need to expand. We're looking at 2 full leagues. Heck, I'd love to see 100 teams in Ultimate Hoops Rec. So, and that day will come. So
I do not want to see 100 teams in rec because I'm already dreading the prediction segment as it is. I can't imagine doing 50 games of predictions in a week. I'd have to quit my job.
I think we'd split it up. All right, thank you, Ultimate Hoops Nation. We'll see you next week.